This is Greg Shook, a veteran police officer of 7 years for West Point Police Department. While on the job, he's become a little overweight, from the donuts of course, and he smokes to help relieve him from all the stress. He's also prone to illness, short-sighted, and a slow reader, but does have thick skin and is a fast learner. Will I be able to survive a week? Put your guesses down below, and while there, go ahead and like the video. But without further ado, let's get right into it. I spawned in what seemed to be a town hall. This was quite fitting. I went around searching for anything of use, and while looking around, I figured this would be a perfect spot to set up shop, at least in the meantime anyway. I came across a storage room on the bottom floor with a bunch of tools and crafting items, and this room would be perfect to store all of my goodies in the future. Arming myself with a pipe wrench, I continued to search the rest of the building. This room has a lot of chairs to disassemble. I also had a little trouble with the door. Upon heading upstairs, I found another room that could be used for some storage. There was also an office with a bunch of books for us to start reading, and then a filing cabinet room with a bunch of junk. The mayor's office had even more books, a TV, and a sofa. This is where I will be sleeping. Now that we're finished searching this huge place, I stored all the good loot into the storage room and went outside to clear out around the base. While doing so, I noticed a pharmacy right across the street. After a close call, I encountered a digital watch on a zombie, which I stole, obviously. I spotted a herd outside of the mechanic and another near the pharmacy. Those might get dangerous. I continued checking out my surroundings, and I found a parking lot and a lot of cars that don't look too bad. But there was another group of dead nearby, so I had to stay quiet. Finding a gun case in this one, it was already paying off. The van ended up having a pretty good knife, and the key was already inside. If we can get this thing running, it would be a pretty decent ride. Upon returning home, I deposited everything and checked what was inside the gun cases we found, both having a pistol and a magazine inside. I went around the base one more time, finding anything else that was good that we may have missed, and put it into the main storage. The storage room was filled with bleach and other cleaning stuff, so I grabbed all of that and took it upstairs. This room will store our medical, cleaning, and food items. Next up, I moved all the reading material into the main room bookshelf, and after all that, it was time to watch some Life and Living. I then went out to go grab a bite to eat, and realized the fridge had no food. We would need to find some. So I went out and searched for some, but ran into some zombies that turned out to be a little more than expected. I found some cigarettes on one of the dead and decided now was the perfect time for a smoke. Then I found a jacket, an annotated map. This one wasn't too useful, but I went ahead and marked it on my map. Then I went back to the front and grabbed my hat that had dropped when that zombie rudely bit me. Well, tried to at least. I found a shop that might have some food inside, but while walking around the outside, I accidentally attracted a horde towards me. This is not going to be good. I noticed a bakery while fighting, so I went inside for all the tasty goodies. The perfect cop diet. I snacked on some cake on the way home, and on one of the dead I found a fanny pack with another gun inside along with some 9mm ammo. With it being almost bedtime, I put all the food away, cleaned myself off, and went to bed. The next day I woke up too late to catch my shows. I cleared out some of the zombies who roamed nearby the building, and then started my day by finishing up searching the bakery. I peeked out the back door and noticed 2 trucks that I would search later. After returning home and clearing my inventory, it was time for some Life and Living. I decided to try and start clearing the horde near the pharmacy. Getting access to it this early would be a game changer. After that close call, I grabbed my hat and returned home. I wanted to read while I waited to heal, and also caught some life and living. Nothing much happened the rest of the day. Since we had an injury, I was taking it easy, until I was sorting out the base a little more, and this happened. Another close call. The thick skin was paying off. With all my luck ran out, I went upstairs to head to bed. The next morning I woke up to check my wounds. It was healed, but I did have a sore neck from the couch. After watching some TV, I started the day by heading over to the pharmacy. Before we could loot it, the horde nearby would need to be cleared out. With the window broken, I removed the broken glass and hopped through. This place was loaded. I went through grabbing everything I could: food, medicine, tools. This might take a couple trips. After a couple trips, I went back to enjoy some TV while I took a break. And then it was right back to finish bringing everything over. Now that we were set on medical items, I went back home and ran into a couple more stragglers. After clearing my inventory, I read an engineering magazine. Also found a giant water bottle while looting the pharmacy, so I filled that up so we would have it for the future. I took a smoke break and cleared out some roamers that were near the base. But while doing so, I missed the episode of Life and Living. For the rest of the night, I read Electrician Volume 1 until time to sleep. I woke up a little early, so I continued reading until our show was over. There was still a couple more things I wanted to grab from the pharmacy, so I ran back. I found a back room that was unlocked, and it had even more medical supplies and a bunch of water that I would come back for later. But for now, let's head back home and deposit everything. Now that we had a good amount of food and medicine, I wanted to find a saw. I noticed a Gigamart that could have one, but with the huge horde outside, I stayed away for now. I went into the coffee shop beside base, not expecting a saw there, but wanting to get more food, and then I went back home and moved a crate that had been blocking another two, thinking maybe I could get lucky, but no saw in there. Next, I started on some base remodeling. I wanted everything off the bottom floor. Eventually we would tear the staircases up, so I started by moving the water upstairs. At this point, I didn't know where to put the fridge and the microwave, so I went back out to hopefully find a saw. I found a bar with a bunch of zombies inside. Since it was close to base, I decided to clear it out. After doing so, I heard a zombie banging at the door, so I went behind the bar to try to find it. The door that the zombie was behind was locked, so I decided to wait until it broke out. But for now, I went back home and enjoyed some L&L, then continued to gain some knowledge before heading to bed. Yesterday I noticed a car shop. Figuring that would have a saw, I went back to have a look. This place was packed. Finally, a backpack. I grabbed a bunch of tools, but I didn't find a saw. I left most of the auto parts here, except for this car battery charger that I found. If we ever need them, I'll come back for them. I returned home, deposited everything, and then moved the microwave up to the food storage room, and then enjoyed some TV. After that, I went back outside and noticed a horde pretty close by, so I got to work. Zombie had another fanny pack with a gun inside. I took a smoke and then went inside the building that the zombie was knocking at. another gun magazine. This place also had a decent amount of food and meds. And with life and living about to start, I went back home. While we're here, if you're enjoying the video, consider leaving a like. For dinner, I decided to finally eat something other than pastries. So I grabbed a mutton and cooked it up. After that, I laid all the guns we found out, read an Angler magazine, set an alarm, and went to bed. After watching some morning TV, I ventured out into the fog, still needing a saw. I returned to the parking lot with the trucks, thinking maybe they have one. The first truck didn't really have too much to offer, but it didn't look like it needed too many repairs. The other truck had a gun case with a sick sniper rifle. I then made my way back to the pharmacy. Now with a backpack, I can carry all the water back to my base. But when I got home, a horde had wandered into my backyard. Quickly realizing I no longer had my knife, I ran back to the zombie I killed inside the pharmacy. They followed me. After some spicy moves, I returned home to finish the rest. I got some new pants off of a zombie, then returned home to place the water, my new gun, then read a book before life and living. There was a nasty storm brewing outside, so for the rest of the time I had, I sorted out the filing cabinet room to free up some space. I also cleaned out the office across the hall, but by then, it was time to sleep. Today was day 7. With that being the case, and since it's still storming outside, I decided to take it easy. After reading a little bit and watching TV, I did some more reading. And more. And more. Once the second episode was finished, I decided to finally do something, so I brought the fridge upstairs. Soon, we would be able to destroy the steps and the dead won't be able to get to us. And while doing some more reading, the worst thing happened to us. With the helicopter looming outside, I turned off the lights and stayed quiet, hoping a zombie wouldn't wander upstairs. But then I heard one break the glass. I decided to run downstairs to check out the situation. This would be a mistake. Upon arriving, I checked out the situation. It didn't seem too bad. And then I saw a couple more and knew I'd have to fight. I should have put up curtains. At this point, it seemed quiet, so I went back upstairs to take a break. And then the helicopter returned, drawing more zombies towards us. I snuck into the food pantry and smoked a little bit to ease my panic. I heard another glass shatter, so I returned back downstairs. This time, it didn't go well. They were all coming in. I tried to close the door, but I couldn't reach. My knife broke. I would need to get into the tool closet or the storage room for another weapon. I ran back through the dead, but this time they were blocking the stairs. I tried to close the door, but by this point, my palms were sweaty and I couldn't grab the door handle. This was the end of Gun Show. Who would have thought all it took to take down a cop was some stairs and some tricky doors? Anyway, if you happen to enjoy this video and would like to see more, consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps out the channel and it took me a really long time to edit this, so I really appreciate it. But my name's SS Samurai 7 and I'll see y'all guys in the next video. Peace out.